Welcome to another Proficiency ESL-lounge reading lesson video. Today we will be reading Sleepless in Stains. Let's begin with some vocabulary. Tyranny, cruel and oppressive rule, complete control. Perfunctory, done as a duty or routine, without care or interest. Nascent, just coming into existence and beginning to show signs of future potential. Cacophony, a harsh, discordant mixture of sounds. Insidious, proceeding in a gradual, subtle way but with harmful effects. Cerebral, relating to the intellect rather than the emotions. Existential, relating to human existence and experience. Sentinel, a guard whose job is to stand and keep watch. Inexorable, impossible to stop or prevent. Capitulation, the action of surrendering or ceasing to resist an opponent. Great, now you know the key words. Let's read the story. The tyranny of the racing mind begins quietly. It begins as a perfunctory ritual, a pantomime of impending restfulness performed for an audience of one, the dimming of lights, the fluffing of pillows, the optimistic placement of a glass of water on the bedside table. I lie back, close my eyes, and wait for the velvet cloak of sleep to descend. Silence. And then the performance begins. My mind, however, has other plans. It has prepared a detailed agenda of half-forgotten embarrassments, nascent anxieties, and existential queries of profound insignificance. Did I remember to reply to that email from 3 weeks ago? Is that faint dripping sound a plumbing catastrophe in the making? What precisely is the point of it all? End of page 1. Let's continue. Outside, the suburban symphony of stains offers its own unwelcome accompaniment. The distant, inexorable hum of the M25 motorway, a vast concrete river of perpetual motion. The scream of a fox, a sound so unnervingly human it jolts me fully awake, just as I begin to drift. These external noises are merely the percussion section for the main orchestra, the relentless cacophony of my own cerebral activity. Sleep, I've come to realize, is a shy animal. You cannot hunt it. Any direct attempt to capture it, any conscious thought of "now I will fall asleep," sends it scurrying back into the shadows. I try the recommended strategies, of course, the deep breathing exercises that are meant to calm the nervous system. The counting backwards from 1000 in multiples of 7, it never works. My mind is too clever for such simple tricks. End of page 2. Let's continue. It treats these techniques not as a path to peace, but as a brief intermission before the main performance resumes. It is a frantic archivist, pulling files at random from the vast, disorganized library of my consciousness. The clock ticks past 3 a.m., the official witching hour for the insomniac. This is when the thoughts turn philosophical. It occurs to me that the real problem isn't the noise or the anxiety, but the very nature of modern consciousness itself. We spend our days consuming a relentless stream of information, training our brains to be constantly stimulated, permanently switched on. Then we lie down in a dark room and expect this sentinel of a mind, this guard we have trained to be ever vigilant, to simply abandon its post. It feels less like a failure on my part, and more like a design flaw in the system. End of page 3. Let's continue. The click and whir of the central heating boiler firing up has a peculiar horror. It is the sound of time passing, of the night being eaten away chunk by chunk while I lie here, a passive observer to my own wakefulness. And it is at that moment, usually around 4 a.m., that the capitulation occurs. I give up the fight. I get up, quietly, so as not to wake the sleeping house. The act of making a cup of tea in the pre-dawn stillness feels like a sacred ritual. The world outside is bathed in the strange liminal light that comes just before sunrise. No cars. No people. Just the silent houses and the slowly brightening sky. There is a strange peace in this acceptance, in abandoning the battle and simply inhabiting the sleepless moment. End of page 4. Let's continue. As the first birds begin to sing, I realize the night was not a total loss. I have not found rest, but I have been forced into a prolonged, unfiltered conversation with myself. Perhaps that is the insidious bargain of modern insomnia. It robs you of sleep, but it gifts you, or rather, forces upon you, a moment of profound, unwelcome clarity. The sun rises. The day has begun, whether I am ready for it or not. Okay, time for a few questions to check your understanding. Question 1. What is the central conflict described in the opening paragraphs? A. The writer's need for mental stimulation versus the requirement for mental emptiness to sleep. B. The writer's rational understanding of sleep hygiene versus their emotional resistance to bedtime routines. C. The writer's conscious desire for sleep versus their mind's subconscious refusal to switch off. D. The writer's peaceful home environment versus the disruptive noises from outside. Pause the video now to think about your answer. The correct answer is C. The writer describes trying to sleep but their mind has other plans, and begins a performance of anxieties and questions. Question 2. Why does the writer describe their mind as a frantic archivist? A. Because it is systematically organizing thoughts in a logical order. B. To illustrate the chaotic and indiscriminate nature of their intrusive thoughts. C. Because it is helping the writer to remember important historical facts. D. Because it is focused on calculating numbers and solving puzzles. Pause the video now to think about your answer. The correct answer is B. The author uses this metaphor to describe the mind pulling files at random from the vast, disorganized library of my consciousness. Question 3. What is the writer's attitude towards common sleep improvement techniques? A. They find them to be effective if practiced consistently. B. They believe they are useful for calming external noises. C. They are viewed with a degree of condescension as inadequate for the scale of the problem. D. They acknowledge the technique's scientific validity but find them ineffective for complex mental patterns. Pause the video now to think about your answer. The correct answer is C. The author dismisses them by saying their mind is too clever for such simple tricks and treats them as a brief intermission. Question 4. What is the significance of the boiler turning on at 4 a.m.? A. It is a comforting sound that finally helps the writer to relax. B. It is a loud noise that prevents any possibility of sleep. C. It is a signal that it is time to get up and start the day. D. It serves as a mechanical and indifferent marker of the night's lost potential. Pause the video now to think about your answer. The correct answer is D. The author describes the sound with a peculiar horror, as it signifies the night being eaten away chunk by chunk. Question 5. The writer's moment of capitulation signifies a shift from A. A state of anxiety to one of deep depression. B. A state of frustrated struggle to one of quiet resignation. C. Trying to sleep as much as possible to realizing they are fighting their nature. D. Ignoring the problem of sleeplessness to actively seeking a solution. Pause the video now to think about your answer. The correct answer is B. The author describes the moment as when the capitulation occurs and they give up the fight, leading to a strange peace in this acceptance. Question 6. What is the insidious bargain that the writer suggests modern insomnia offers? A. It offers creative inspiration at the cost of social interaction. B. An unwelcome form of enlightenment that comes at a steep price. C. It provides more time for productivity in exchange for physical health. D. It makes the daytime seem more peaceful at the cost of a chaotic night. Pause the video now to think about your answer. The correct answer is B. The text explains that insomnia robs you of sleep, but it gifts you, a moment of profound, unwelcome clarity. Let's quickly summarize the lesson. On this screen, you can review the main points of the text and the key vocabulary. Finally, here are a few discussion questions. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching this ESL Lounge video. Don't forget to subscribe for more lessons, and we'll see you in the next one.